Real Talk disclaimer. The information provided by the host on this platform is for education and awareness purposes only. All information provided on this platform is provided in good faith. We make no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, validity, and reliability of information shared by the host or show guests. The views and opinions of guests on the show do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the host of Real Talk. Under no circumstances do the host, show guests, sponsors, or affiliates assume responsibility for the actions of any viewer.
Our greatest glory is rising when we fall. So don't be discouraged, don't you be appalled. It's okay if you fall and maybe even lose your spark. Just make sure in the end you rise from the dark. It's time to rise up, time to work, and time to chase your dreams. The Lord has the final say, so your soul is redeemed. This message is to help you with your self-esteem, as faith will take you places that we have never seen.
Welcome to Real Talk. Glad to have all of you to join us on tonight. It is a Thursday night, and we normally come your way every Thursday, but we have been giving you a little break on what we've been doing, been tied up. Of course, past Bishop T have not been able to join us since we have returned back. She's been very busy. She sends her love and prayerfully and hopefully she will get an opportunity to join us in the very near future, okay? Very near future. We want you to share with any and everyone and let them know that Real Talk is up, and I'm here solo today, but I do want you to come in because we're going to be sharing some things concerning the Board of Education and other things that are going on in our city. We're going to do roll call in just a few minutes, so go ahead and in the comments, go ahead and make it known that you're present and let us know that you're watching, and we'll give you some shout outs in just a few minutes, okay? But want to let you know how you can actually watch us here on Real Talk. You can watch us on Facebook Live, and that's on Z Andre Huff page and Real Talk with Pastor Z and Bishop T. We also have a YouTube page. That's right. There's Real Talk with Pastor Z and Bishop T on YouTube. We would like for you to like and subscribe. We also have a Twitter page. Check us out. R Talk with Z and T at R Talk with Z _ T. Okay. We do want you to join us. Several things that we're going to do in just a few minutes. We're going to give a shout out again to those that are joining in with us in just a few minutes. But we do want to do this right quick. While you coming in, I expected to have this done, but let me go back and grab it. Let's see. While you're coming in, go ahead and say hello, and we'll do our shout outs in just a few minutes. But while we're waiting on you to come in, and let's see if we can get this going. I want to us to consider keeping this young man lifted up. Let's see. All righty. Let's go back here. We just want to plug one thing in, and then we're gonna get started. Again, go ahead and let everyone know that Real Talk is up and running. We're going to share some things concerning the Board of Education. But before we do that, there's a young man that desires our prayers, Mr. Reggie Davis. He's a part of the Average Joe um, Sports Talk. He has been under the weather in the hospital. We want you to lift him up in prayer. So, all the Real Talk fans, viewers, lift Mr. Reggie Davis up in your prayers. Very great guy. Very great guy. Very great guy. So, let's go ahead and do our roll call with you on tonight. For those that are joining us, want to say hello to Miss Katrina Davis. Hello, how are you on tonight? Miss Gladys McLeod. Hello. Miss Kateria Williams. Glad to have you joining us on tonight. Glad to have Miss Charlotte Vaughn Worthy. Hello, how are you? Miss Kathleen Spratley. Hello, how are you on tonight? Miss Kimberly Sims. Hello, how are you? Pamela Smith, glad to have you on. Miss Candy Bothwell, glad to have you on as well. All right. All right, just doing a little something different. We see Mr. Greg Wilson. Hello, how are you? Gregory Wilson. All right. There's a lot of things that are going on in our city. Uh, there is the Food City grocery store that is taking place at the Gaston Mall. Okay, it opened up this week, and haven't got any views on how that is going. But heard it had a grand opening, and a lot of people was excited to see the grocery store come our way. So we're excited about that, and we look to see what kind of results or views we'll get on that. I want to say hello to Miss Teresa Williams. Okay, so let's go ahead and just dive into this. There's no other way but to dive into why we're here on tonight. Let's handle the business at hand. Most of you was able to make it to the Board of Education um, on, I believe it was last Thursday now, um, to witness what took place with the superintendent search. Of course, I serve and represent District 3. And so what happened, we posted the job, and in posting the job, we had applicants. And in when we got down to the agenda to actually deal with the superintendent search, or what we would be, what direction we would be going when it came down to selecting our superintendent. There was a motion made by the chairperson who was presiding over the meeting. Now, just want to give you a little clarity on what took place there, because there was some confusion and some things being said, and I'm going to address some things in just a few minutes, because I've been getting questions. So let me get this mic right. I've been getting questions about why um, I had the idea of wanting to interview. But let's go back to the chairperson. He made a motion as the chairperson. Now, I've been chair for 2 years. I've been on the board almost 8, 9 years. It's been quite a bit, and all the the whole time that I've been on the board, I've never witnessed the chairperson make a motion. That has happened twice, and it's been by um, our chair, Judge Milliken. He did it when we made the interim superintendent, Mr. Keith Blackwell, was named interim. And when he did that, um, I allowed it to go through. But I had a conversation, private conversation. I met with he and Mr. Mike Haney. And I shared with him how I didn't like the fact that he bullied the meeting. That actually the person that presides over the meeting has the agenda, goes down the agenda, and that individual, when that goes down the agenda, um, should ask what is the pleasure of the board. But just to get to that point on the agenda and immediately make a motion without asking what is the pleasure of the board, um, is not the correct way to handle a meeting. Now, according to Robert Rules of Order, that if you're going to, if you're the chairperson and you want to make a motion, which you can, but there are some things must be done before you do that. You must assign someone else to preside over the meeting. And so they can ask, what is the pleasure of the board? But just to um, get to that point on the agenda and rush to make a motion, um, that 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 was unsatisfactory to me and to Robert Rules of Order. So I actually said something about it to Judge Milliken, which is the chairman. He at that point turned it over to our vice chair, which is Miss Adrian Reed, and proceeded. Which I knew the motion was going to be made, and it was already second. So we moved to discussion, and in moving to discussion, um, the thing that I shared was that we had a very diverse pool of candidates that I felt like needed to be interviewed. Not only should the individuals be interviewed, but even the person that was the interim that we pretty much knew that they wanted to put in that seat needed to be interviewed as well. We need to know the vision that he has for our system. Now, what blows my mind is that, and of course, it went around the room, and they voted. The four of them voted to not interview. When I say the four of them, it was the Mr. Mike Haney, Miss Nancy Stewart, Mr. Mark Dayton, and Mr. Alan Milliken. They all voted not to interview. Um, and people applauded, and that's fine as well, because I mean that's fine and dandy, because I do understand that everyone doesn't share my beliefs and my opinion, and that's fine. But I find it kind of difficult and hard to believe that you would put together a panel to interview people to be a basketball coach or to be a football coach at the school, but you don't believe that the person that holds the highest position in the educational system doesn't need to be interviewed. Um, I hadn't seen anything that Mr. Blackwell had done that would justify just putting him in the position. Let me just show you the pool of candidates. Uh, Here are some of the people that applied: Dr. Lakeisha George, Dr. Kim Germany, Dr. Angela Bush, Dr. Daniel Gallagher, Dr. Gary Gibson, Mr. Keith Blackwell, Dr. Sammy Felton, Dr. Mark Davis II, Dr. Michael Robinson, and then you have Dr. Corey O'Neill. These was the individuals, and we didn't. I didn't put one of the other individual, which was an African American female, on because they're actually um, in position to possibly become a superintendent in another system, and I don't want to do anything that will hurt them at this moment. But we had 11 applicants. We had 4 African American males, 4 African American females, and 3 white males. Very diverse, I feel, a pool of people. We didn't have to interview all of them, but I felt like we should have interviewed some of them, including Mr. Blackwell. That was my view. That was my point. Um, I had a lot of people to contact me. Even my son was supporting Mr. Blackwell, and they only thing they could tell me that they thought that he was just a good person. Now you take politics and personal relationship out of it, then you tell me, is that the same selection? Again, politics and personal relationship, you take it out of the equation, we don't know. All you can go then by is that he is a local person who's in position to get it. We applaud it. I found it very offensive that they didn't even want to interview these people. And the reason why I was offended is because and people hate for it to be called out, but racism exists. I'm not calling people racist, but racism exists. For you to have 11 applicants and the majority of them are African American, and all the white board members voted not to interview, what does that say about the people that applied? What does that say? It bothers me that we are here with our system. This is a very unique opportunity for us to put someone in that position. And because we don't, I heard people say, I'm relieved that this is over with, as if you're saying we don't have time to actually interview and pick the right person for this position. Let's just put someone in there. We're so busy taking care of grown people that we're not thinking about our children. Now, I represent District 3. I know what District 3 needs. We need someone that's going to come in and help us with our children. I'm not concerned about my top 3 or, the retirement or how much I can make. We're too big of, we think more about padding people's pockets and putting them in position. I heard some of the same folks who talked about the good old boy system actually clapped at the good old boy system taking place. You don't even interview, you just push someone in there. I don't even know where you do that at. I mean, where have that ever happened? And I understand, and I do know that sometimes people create positions already knowing who they're going to put in there. But this should not have been the case. This should not have been the case. And I've stated that, and I don't mind continue stating that. I have no issue with Mr. Key Blackwell. I've talked to him just as much as anybody else. But as I've stated to him, we want to put the right person in the position, because at the end of the day, if things are not successful, fingers are going to be pointed at the board, even though the whole board did not agree. Okay, so let me address something, because um, I saw quite a few things. We saw, politics play a great part in that. As the agenda, we were scrolling down the agenda. The mayor was there. He was standing on the side. As we got close to this on the agenda, he took the front seat. No one else sitting on the front row, staring there. All four of them said the same thing. I'm going to vote my conscience, vote my conscience, vote my conscience, vote. It just seemed rehearsed as if it had been colluded. Um, of course, now these are some of the same people that was involved in this particular um, um, event that had an issue when the board was a little different. Before they went to elective school board, it was appointed. And the same thing almost happened to remove Dr. Miller from the position. There was 4 blacks that voted to remove him. They had a big issue about it. They raised a big stink about it, but it happened. But I saw quite a few things take place, and I got a call after the meeting, and the call went like this. They said, "Hey, Reverend Huff, how are you?" And this is from a African American female. I said, "I'm fine. How are you?" They said, "Just want to talk to you for a few minutes, and I have some questions for you." I said, "Okay, shoot." They said, "Well, did you want a black superintendent?" And I told them, I said, "No, I didn't necessarily want a black superintendent. I just wanted the right superintendent. It didn't matter to me what color they was. I just want to put the right person in the right seat." Well, I like Mr. Blackwell. I said, I like him too. That has never been an issue that I said I didn't like him. The reason why I didn't want him in that position. The only way you can actually consciously make the right decision, you need to hear from some people that has applied and also hear from him. So they then come off and say, well, you come off hostile. You come off as if you're pro-black. And I said, okay, then. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Okay. I said, well, do the 4 white board members come off as pro-white? Well, no. I said, well, why not? When you have the majority of the candidates or applicants that was black and they didn't even want to give them an interview. And at the end, when we was about to dismiss, there was a joke made about the chairman saying that someone that probably had a clerical error, and the people laughed at it. Now, you can't discredit everybody by one person's mistake. And credentials are easily you can easily check the credentials to make sure that they have them. All you gotta do is pick up the phone and call. But those are the things I'm just concerned about our community, how we just sit there and clap and we're satisfied with crumbs instead of fighting for what we deserve. People went to school to get their doctorate degrees, and you just gonna look over them and say it's nothing, as if they're not even deserving to hear. Now, if you notice, out of all 11 applicants, 10 of them had doctorate degrees, a doctorate degree. And I know a doctorate degree ain't everything, but it's an accomplishment. And why would a person go get a doctorate degree? 10 of them had a doctorate degree. Our superintendent, Mr. Blackwell, does not. These people have had experience. You had some of the applicants who have actually managed 16 schools as a superintendent. They've also been a part of managing a $85 million budget, but they was looked over. They have proven record where they have turned the system around and grades have picked up, and they have shown where they have been able to put all the resources and spread them about all of the schools, but they were looked over, not even talked to, not even asked, have you even looked at the dynamics of our school system? And if you do, you think that you can do, what would you do in order to turn our system around? They was looked over. They was looked over. I see a few things being said here. Someone, Miss Val Borden said, so why put an application out there if you didn't intend to interview the applicant? Good question. And even in our work session, you know, we had the chairman who made the statement. Those that was there to hear it, heard him say he has an agenda, and the agenda is to make the interim superintendent the superintendent. That was his agenda all along. Ms. Latham says, was this position posted? Yes, ma'am, it was. It was posted on several sites. If yes, there may be legal ramifications, false advertisements, or misrepresentation of intent. Well, that's for them to handle. And I don't want people to think that I'm bitter. I'm hurt. I'm upset that we would allow these games to be played, and we're cheering and we're supporting it, all because we're getting recognition, or that we may have a personal relationship. You know, I'm going to do everything I can to work with Mr. Blackwell. He's the superintendent. Working against him means I'm working to make the system fail. I'm going to work with him, but I just need us to understand, you know, before you start calling me hostile and saying that, you know, I'm mad or I'm doing things wrong. Understand my position. I heard someone say, well, I supported Mr. Blackwell, you know, when Mr. Reddick left. Ben supported Mr. Blackwell, Mr. Reddick. I didn't realize that there was a pool of people or candidates that I didn't know. Didn't nobody tell me. It wasn't my place to tell you then, but the meeting we just had was the place that we was going to discuss all of these things. And before you swing your support behind anybody, make sure you look at everybody to make sure this is the person that you're rooting for. You know, I understand having a good relationship, but I'm gonna tell you what I've experienced in the time that I've been on the board is that deals get made. People are making deals. There are some power. You know, they're abusing the power. There's a lot of things taking place that is going to you're going to see it come out in the wash. I saw it in the past. Deals get made, and deals get made banking on the individual pulling back or doing something for them. These things happen. Politics. You know, I heard somebody say, you don't know how to play politics. You know, you do something for me, I'll do something for you. I've heard someone say that before. That's not the way it works. If you are fighting for our children, then you look to put the right person in the highest position in our system. You don't just give that to someone. Mr. Reddick had to interview, and he had more time in the system than Mr. Blackwell. Just make it make sense to me. How do you post a job, get 11 applicants, and you don't even downsize it? If you didn't want to interview anyone but anybody but five of them, if five of them was the only ones you want to interview, at least interview them to hear. And let me say this. Some of you may have had conversations with the present superintendent, but everybody haven't. You may have had private conversations with them, but everyone have not. It's an opportunity for everyone to hear. Your stakeholders, your community. your parents, your guardians, your children, your instructors. Because let me say this: just as much as people were singing his praises, there were some people that wasn't singing his praises. So you give everybody an opportunity, so it won't look like this person was just thrown in this seat. And I just wanted to come on tonight, to say what I needed to say about me. I was elected by District 3. And just, and I'm going to say their districts probably wanted what they voted for. But I did what I thought was best for District 3. So it was a 4-3 vote on the motion that Judge Milliken made not to interview. 4 voted not to interview. The 3 of us, me, myself, Adrian Reed, and Rita Smith, we voted to interview. And then the motion was made by Mark Dayton to remove the interim tag on Mr. Blackwell and make him our superintendent. I voted against it. Again, not that I have a problem with Mr. Blackwell. I just believe that we should have went through the interview process so that no one would have thought he was just thrown in that position. Ms. Val Borden said, in order to break the good old boy system, you have to go outside of the house of the in-house system. Yes, you're certainly right. And that was one of the things that I made reference to. In order to bring someone in and for them to be able to make the moves that need to be made without feeling that anything is going to come down the pipe on them, you need to go outside and take a look at someone who has done it before, who has a proven record. And those individuals was, I felt like we had a good pool of people. Now, I will say this: if it ever happens again where we will have to post, I don't know if anyone would take us serious anymore, because there were some folks that actually applied that considered on not applying because they felt like they were just going to be wasting their time. And in all actuality, that is exactly what took place. So I thank you for hearing me. And I know everyone is not going to agree with me, and that's fine. But I do want us to want more for ourselves. Quit selling for crumbs. Quit selling for the, this is something, and I'm going to say this and then I'm gone. I was playing dominoes with my father-in-law one day, and my brother-in-law played a bone. And he said, look, I'm going to let you go ahead and get your bone in, for those that know anything about dominoes. So he played a 6, and I told him right then, I said, the only reason you played that is it is going to benefit you down the road. You're not going to give me nothing or give me anything that it won't benefit you. And my father-in-law said, you've been around enough to know that, don't you? And that's what I'm saying. Only time we as a community, we as a people are given something is because it's always something it's going to work out for them. And we're satisfied with what we are given. I want us to wake up and watch what is happening. There are some things that are taking place in our city, and we sleep. We fight more against each other. I shared with someone the other day, it's hard fighting for your people while fighting your people. I'm going to say that again. It's very difficult fighting for your people while you have to fight your people. How do you expect people to fight for you and fight you fighting for you? That, and let me say this on the behalf of most of our politicians that are African American. In most cases, that's the issue. We don't get burnt out for fighting for you. The problem is we get burnt out fighting you while fighting for you. It's just like a person drowning in the water, and a person, I jump in to save that person and trying to bring them to safety. And while trying to bring them to safety, they're fighting me because they're afraid, and they end up drowning me while I'm trying to save them. And that's what we deal with in our community. When we have people that are doing the best they can to make things better, it ain't good enough. We want to beat them up the more, but we give the other communities a pass because we're making deals. And they're making deals instead of just saying, this is for me. I'm going on that side because they got something in it for me. We paint ourselves as leaders in the community, and we make deals with other folk to sell our people out. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. I'm glad Bishop ain't on here, and I'm glad Bishop T is not on here, and I'm glad Jeffrey Washington is not on here. And I actually told you I don't want you on with me tonight because I know I'm gonna take some hits. I already know I'm gonna be talked about. I already know my name gonna be drug, and that's fine. But let me just do it. Let them drag me. I don't want y'all to be drug in it. I don't want them to say nothing about you. If anybody have anything to say to me, I have no problem sitting down with anybody. When you get ready to dog me, invite me to the table so we can talk about it. I can tell you how I feel about it. I can tell you how I feel about you too. I'm sure the feeling is pretty much neutral, but the bottom line is, and I said this, if you don't stand for something, you're gonna fall for anything. And that's the problem. If we don't stand for something, we will fall for anything. We have people that show up in the fourth quarter. That's what happened. They show up you can't expect to show up in the fourth quarter and applaud when someone been there since kickoff. But you think you know what's best because you showed up in the fourth quarter. You got some folk been here since kickoff. But because of your personal relationship with them, you support them. There's a problem. There's an issue. And I don't have an answer on how we're going to fix it. But I've seen people, and I even saw it when we made Mr. Reddick our superintendent. I saw people show up that was on the fence. They didn't say they was for, they didn't say they was against, but just as sure as we made him superintendent, they went to clapping the loudest, because now what can I get out of this? You stay on the fence, and in some cases, there are people that are in position or positions that you don't know where they stand until everything is over. Then all of a sudden they come out and make it look like they was for you all along. There was meetings that the SCLC was having, trying to get this search going, and was inviting other people to the party, and no one else would show up. Right, straddling the fence, and I have a big issue with that. It exists. It happens. It goes down, but again, I believe in fighting for my people. I think that my people are just as smart. They can do a better job or just as good of a job, Guarantee the very things that they griped about under Mr. Reddick, they're going to applaud Mr. Blackwell about the same very thing. I guarantee you. You know, the old saying or the song says, it's cool when you do it. It's cool when you do it. It's different when I do it. Yeah. Yeah. Facts. Somebody say facts. But let me say this. I'm going to work with Mr. Blackwell. What is done is done. I just need everyone to know what was done, because there's a lot of people that was posting on Facebook saying little different things. And I'm just sitting here looking at them, and because they don't really know what's going on. They posting these things because of their personal relationship. Again, take out the personal relationship, take out the politics. Tell me what you have. Tell me that he was the more attractive applicant out of all these people with their doctorate degrees. He was the most attractive applicant. So much we don't even want to hear them and just put this person in the position. What I'm doing is perfectly legal. I can talk about it. It's public knowledge. I can say how I feel about it. And, this is a podcast that Bishop T and I created, and ain't nobody going to stop me from saying it. And I can care less who hear it. Facts is facts. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And again, as the old saying says, help me help you. Don't hinder me from helping you, but help me help you. If I'm in a position to vote and to help us get somewhere, don't stand on with the opposing team. Make it make sense. But help me help you. I thank all of you for joining us on tonight. We do want you all to be more present at the school board meetings, at City Hall. There's a lot of things that are taking place that I don't know if we're aware of or not. But you need to open your eyes, wake up and see it. And before Daddy used to say, but before you say amen, you need to know what they talking about. Don't every time they open their mouth and say something, it ain't amen. You don't amen everything. Amen mean I agree. And I say the same thing about applauding everything that you see, or just jumping behind something and supporting. It's your job to investigate before you swing your support. Okay. Before we go, I do want to say again, let's keep Brother Reggie Davis in our prayers. Come on, sing your prayers up for Brother Reggie Davis. Show some love to him. Great young man. Always has kind words to say. So keep him lifted up in prayer. And we know God is going to pull him through. Okay. Thank all of you for joining us here tonight on Real Talk. Continue to stay in the good fight. And remember, if I don't stand for something, I'll fall for anything. Until next Thursday, everyone have a great night, okay?